Nacht, alles schläft, einsam wach, nur das traute, hochheilige Paar. Holder Knabe im lockigen Haar, schlaf in himmlischer Ruhe, schlaf in himmlischer Ruhe.
Noche de paz, noche de amor, todo duerme en derredor, entre los astros que esparce su luz, bella anunciando al niñito Jesús, brilla la estrella de paz, brilla la estrella de paz.
Silent night, holy night, all is calm, all is bright, round your virgin mother and child, holy infant so tender and mild, sleep in heavenly peace, sleep in heavenly peace. Frohe Weihnachten und ein glückliches 2025.
Feliz Navidad y un próspero año nuevo.
Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to our special Christmas edition here, where for the first time this virtual team of anchors, producers, marketing people are sitting around the table here and have a chat for the next 10-15 minutes and hopefully wishing you good holidays. We thought to start it off, it's a good chance for everybody to introduce herself. I'm the only man, I just realized here. Maybe we start with you, Matilda. Tell us about when you joined, your background, and
Thank you, Peter. So,
yes,
as you might know, I'm actually from informatics and psychology, so not a journalist at all. And it was so interesting to come and join here this team because for me it was not at all like obvious to start to talk with people and to talk about the informatics and AI. So for me it was a super enormously good experience for me. And I also like the fact that we are also very international.
yes,
So I'm from Rome, but also from Swiss, from Bern.
yeah.
So I think here more or less all the people is like very international. I think you, Karina, you are from Russian, isn't it?
Christina. Okay, this is a sort of a shoe-in for you. Introduce yourself, Christina.
Yeah, so everyone, hi. So my name is Christina. I'm from Russia. And I live in Moscow. Plus, right now I live in Berlin. So I can say that I live like in two countries, like in Berlin, in Germany, and also in Moscow, in Russia. And I like to combine. So my bachelor degree and master degree was from journalism. So I can say that I'm in this field like from a long time ago, and I'm so happy to be here with you. And I remember the first time when I had the first interview, so it was like a little bit nervous, but I understood that I'm like this is my place, this is where I want to be, and it was like really interesting to create a lot of new projects for you guys, and also like to have a good feedback from my colleagues.
Wonderful, great, excellent. Anna Maria, who will be a brand new member very soon. But here you go. Introduce yourself if you do need any introduction, quite frankly. Our viewers should recognize you.
Well, no. Okay, well, take that. Take that for granted. They very well may not. So, my name, Ana Maria Montero. I'm a lifelong broadcast journalist. I mean, it's basically the only job I've ever done. I started as an intern at CNN and worked my way up to anchor on the West Coast and in California. And then I moved to Europe, where I continued to work with CNN Money up until recently. And now I'm looking for a new adventure. And I'm very excited to be joining this team to talk about something as actually, as in Spanish, we would say, casi cotidiano. I mean, something that's almost, I'm Spanish and Cuban, by the way. But, something that's just become part of our everyday talk, which is AI and the way it influences everything across the board.
Excellent. Well, welcome aboard. Definitely.
Thank you very much.
Sheena, also a very new member aboard.
Yeah, hi everyone. This is Sheena. I worked with Boston Consulting Group earlier in India when I was working there. I moved here recently and now I have joined the Swiss Tech podcast. I'm really looking forward to the excitement journey I'm going to have. For now, it's been roller coaster, but it's been amazing. Peter has been giving me quite warm hugs to make me sure that I'm comfortable here and I'm not getting carried away with the whole, back and forth with the queries. But yes, I'm having my fun time. It's just been 1 month and you will see me more.
Okay, excellent.
Great.
Margarita.
Well, so one thing I want to say is that it's fun that we all have mixed backgrounds. We are all over the world. So that's a nice thing. I'm also Latina, so I'm from Colombia, but I've also been traveling around. I was living in Australia. I did my master's degree in audiovisual production there, but I'm also a journalist. I've been a journalist for more than 14 years now, and I've worked for the media for several years in Colombia, in Australia. So, well, now I'm super excited to be here because I think the future of journalism is, in fact, online, independent projects. This is where the journalism is evolving, like the media. That's from the past. And I'm sorry if that's going to cause some mixed opinions. But I think, yes, the future of journalism is this. So it's been really exciting for me to join this team.
And of course, before we talk about the future, the holidays, Christmas and Hanukkah are also a time of reflection. So it's a good time to maybe look back and talk about maybe some bloops and blunders each one had in the last couple of weeks and month. Who's raising her hand first? Who wants to go first?
I can easily start.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Tell us about it.
So actually, I'm not a journalist at all.
Yeah.
As you can know, I'm a psychologist in the making, and I'm also an expert of AI. So it was so complicated to start to make some interviews with people that are in research, even if they're in Oxford, Harvard, or even also ETH. They are sometimes very rigid and very professional, but with a complex language. So it was very complicated to
Very
start
technical language. You mean.
Yes,
Yeah.
and I need to start always to say wait.
Yeah.
For a lot of people, it does make sense at all, and I was like, no, please, let's keep it simple. And I remember the first time, the girl I was interviewing, she's amazing. But she was so stressed, and also the technical language she was using, it was a mess. So no, it was hard. I really enjoyed it, and I also liked a lot the interview. But in my personal experience, it was kind of hard also to start to tell to her hey, wait, AI is incredibly helpful, but also it's complex to explain. So try to keep it simple. And it's not at all easy.
But you did well. I think you had 21 or 25,000 viewers.
Yes.
So the video did very well, and the topic was very good. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that one thing that we talked with Matilde is, and I guess same with Christine, is that as we are not native English speakers, sometimes it gets tough because you are looking for the word or you're looking for the sentence or how you want to say it, and it gets trickier than if it was in our native languages. So that's also a tricky part.
That's true.
I just want to add that representing native speakers at this table, sometimes it's even hard for me.
Really?
To follow some of these guys. They're so crazy smart, and for them it's super clear. And they're super familiar with it, and they just but when they try to communicate it, sometimes you're like,
how do you
try that again.
How do you bring it down? Because one of the mantras we have here, we don't want to have technical podcasts. That the mantra of Sci-Tech Suisse really is to break down the complex into the everyday. So everything we cover, AI in art, AI and obesity, AI and the global development, or whatever topic we cover, the purpose is to break it down. So, as I always say, my 3-year-old could understand. That's sort of that's the benchmark.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to tear down your interviewee and say,
That's so
"Listen,
true.
we're not at the university level." There, absolutely. Christina, anything you experienced?
I can say I remember only one interview when I had like a lot of problems with the person because it was like a man and he studied in Canada. So I said, wow, he studied in cinema and in filmmaking, and he said to me, I have a great background and I have like a lot of like projects which I have finished at the university, and plus like what I did by myself. And I said, okay, you can tell me please, and blah blah blah. And he said to me, okay. And when we started to have questions, like, when I started to inquire some questions, and he said, okay, this and this and this, and stop it. I said, okay, maybe you would like to tell about this project. Oh, yeah, but it's okay. Like, and I needed to, like, to try to
engage
like,
him.
Yes, unfortunately. And because I asked him, like, do you want to have this interview? He said, yeah, of course. I said, okay, I cannot see it, but like, do something, tell something,
Yes.
like, just like, and we tried like, to do like, and he wanted to talk more about himself.
Yeah.
I said, no, it's not like,
It's
just
men,
like,
you
we
know.
want find a girl for you, like, we needed to know about like your project, something like this. So I think it was like only one interview when I had some issues in this case. So
And it's funny because on my side, as I'm the one who edits the interview,
yeah.
then I try to kind of decipher what happened here.
Yeah.
and then I noticed that, and then I thought, hey, what happened with this person? Oh, this was this. Ah, yes, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I can
At one
tell.
point, Margarita called me and said, well, I got this 40-minute video, but we need to cut 25 minutes because there's always nothing. Like,
Yes.
like questions asked and no answer.
But I love that you called him out and you were like, do you even want to do this interview?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
I've also experienced that.
Yeah.
Where people are they give you nothing, and then you're like, isn't that why you're here?
Yeah, why did you say that you want to participate in this?
But I mean, in all honesty, I mean, where you come from, people have huge TV cameras in front of their faces. I mean, just in general, this little lens there is the way we're wired. Always afraid of the wolf and the lion and whatnot. We look at this as the eye of the animal, but a TV camera. I mean, a lot of people must have frozen in your studio, no?
Yeah.
Maybe not so much in Hollywood, but
No,
probably
but it
here
can be,
in Switzerland,
It
no?
can be intimidating. Yeah, of course,
Yes.
it can be intimidating, and it's fair to say that the higher up, whether it's a list celebrity or a C-level person, executive, they're more prepared, and they have
And trained
people
also,
behind them that help them prepare and everything. But when you have, someone who's perhaps maybe not had that much experience, and nobody sat down and said with him, this is what you do in an interview. This is the goal.
Yeah.
And he kind of comes at it like, oh, we're just going to sit and have a talk.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's very, very intimidating. Absolutely. Well, it's I would summarize this year as a very interesting year. We started Sci-Tech Suisse October of last year with Karina Schuster, and had incredible progress. And when she left, I hired this crew around me here, and I've never felt so much enthusiasm, drive, dedication to this project. So I'm super excited. I'm also excited with the help of you. We passed the 1 million viewer benchmark on YouTube, which is a great achievement. I would definitely like to thank you very much for that. Job very well done. The next is 2 million.
Guys, you understand?
By Easter, 2 million.
It feels like when you get married and then, okay, when you're having a child.
Please share something.
Congratulations. And it should be a boy. The first one should be a boy.
Well, talking about that, one question that we all have, actually, we want you to share it with the audience and with us is, how did you start in this? Where this idea of having a podcast came on? And maybe tell us a bit, because you were not working in the media or anything like that before. So how did you get to this?
Do you want to have a short version or a long version? In between. Well, the idea of a podcast is something I carried with me for a long time. I don't know why. I just happen to like the camera. and enjoy that. And I was trying to convince a very good friend of mine. She is a financial journalist at one of the leading Swiss newspapers, and for political reasons she couldn't get out of it because her boss said no. If you appear on a podcast with Peter Myrtle, then our newspaper's behind it. So it was all very, very complicated. And my main business that I run with Premier Suisse is real estate, and I came across a candidate, Angelina, and she applied for the job in real estate. And I looked at her. She was this 180 tall, very representative Italian woman, and I said, have you ever been in front of a camera? She said, well, my boyfriend and I actually run a podcast.
Incredible.
Right? I said, really? That's fantastic. You know what? Forget about the real estate job. I can finally start my podcast idea. And we called it, I forgot what we called it now. It was LinkedIn or something similar to LinkedIn, we called it. And she came from the hotel business school here in outside of Lausanne. And so she was very familiar with all the C-level hotel owners. And she also traveled a lot with her parents. So we did actually the first 6 months just to try it out on LinkedIn, particularly it was our distribution channel. We were in the hotel business, right? And then she got a job with Hyatt in Santa Barbara, California. And so I was stuck and I was looking for another person. And that's how I got Karina Schuster, who came from the Financial Times in London and had a technical background. And so we said, AI is on the verge, because I had friends in California who told me about ChatGPT, and I thought, what the heck is this? And I was totally impressed with this. And I said, well, would your technological knowledge cover AI as well, right? And this was the time last year fall where it just started to spread really, right? And so we started out and we discovered YouTube as an incredible channel, and still use LinkedIn to that regard. And then I hired you guys, and now we have, with the help of Sheena, we're exploring more channels. So we're going to be on Spotify, on TikTok, and what have you. We also want to monetize this video, so hopefully sponsors will come in and give us money. That's just on Sheena's shoulder to help us.
I'm already feeling heavy in 2025.
Help us
No
do that.
pressure.
I'm already feeling heavy in the door. Like I said, I get a lot of kicks.
But you're absolutely right, Marguerite. In terms of my background, I was 25 years on Wall Street. I started out as a trader in the options market in New York, and was a principal options trader for the banks, and then handled the affairs of very wealthy people around the world. And when I quit that, I did real estate. And I look at this also as a business venture at the end of the day, right? So at the end of the day, I'm just an entrepreneur who likes to invest in these kind of things. And hopefully in 3-4 years, somebody knocks on our door and says, we want to have Sci-Tech Suisse on our platform. Yeah. It's becoming very, very popular. We have over 5 million podcasts now. It's almost like if you don't have a podcast, you don't exist. We seem to differentiate well. We seem to resonate very well with our audience. What I'm very happy about is that we reach the Gen Zs. We reach the 16 to 35-year-old to a good 50, 60%. Interesting enough, also the boomers. That must be because of me.
I must say something.
Old grandparents.
Taking into account the fact that you are not a journalist or anything like that, you do quite well. and people love all the episodes where you are. Like those are the ones who always get the highest views.
Well, so, I was brought up in the country, which means you can't have any attitude in the country. You have to get along with the farmer, with the baker, the mayor, the doctor. Everybody's equal in the country. so I never had this whatever. Even though I lived in New York and in California in Carmel, but I always was a down to earth person, and I think that's it comes across really. It's just generically, and that's why I like to work with you guys, because it's this empathy, it's this drive, and this enthusiasm that you bring to the table, which makes the success of this podcast really. And people problems. Pick up on that. What's that?
And problems.
So this is sort of the middle version where how I came up with this podcast. So absolutely.
So at what point did Margarita come into the picture?
Well, actually, I came into the picture after Karina left. Actually, I was looking for a producer. I was working with Karina kind of for a month in terms of passing the torch kind of thing. Karina is great, by the way. She is like very professional and she has so much experience. She brought so much. I must say, she was one person doing basically what now all these people are doing. So yes, that was impressive. And then when I took over, yes, it was a lot to, as well to understand so many different channels, so many different things to do. But also the thing that we decided with Peter was, okay, let's, renewal. Let's start a new season.
Second season. Yeah.
Let's do something different in terms of visuals. Let's change a bit also like the structure of the podcast. And we included like a promo at the beginning, which is something that we were not doing before. And then now that has worked really nicely. It's like, it's just like,
it's evolving.
I think, exactly, yes, it's constantly evolving and we are like constantly looking for ways to improving and innovate.
Yeah.
So yes, I've been here pretty much since July. So yeah, almost 6 months now.
And we did an analysis as to what the responses are, and we basically have two groups of podcasts we're doing. One is the how-to, sort of the guiding people through how it works, and the other one is the novelty. And so this is why we also split it with Christina focusing on the lifestyle. And with Matilde and her academic background and her connections to the universities, she's interviewing all the really smart people. Where the academic title is longer than the name. That's when you know there's a really scary person.
And you need to define like, what are you exactly? Like, doctor, PhD, whatever.
What haven't you not studied? So we also developed a concept called vibe check, which is we searched very, very much for that. Originally, we wanted to call it charlando, which in Spanish means just to chat, shoot the breeze and whatnot. Until I talked to these two ladies, who of course are native Spanish, and they said, "But who outside of Latin America or Spain understands what a charlando is? It doesn't make any sense." So of course, with the help of ChatGPT, we looked into how would Gen Z call that, and one of the things they came up is vibe check. And I thought, this is super cool.
When you first told me, I was like, what is that?
This is super cool.
Because I'm millennial, but still.
I mean, Ana Maria and I have lived at one point in our life in California, so vibes, of course, were very familiar with us, right? They've been around since the 60s, since Woodstock.
Oh, yeah, right.
The positive vibes.
Not that long ago.
and so we came up with the concept of vibe check, where we don't have interviewees, we just talk amongst ourselves about topics. Could be anything from we did recently one on AI and ethics, fake news, very big topic. We will do one next week with Ana Maria, or 2 weeks with Ana Maria, about which continents, which countries are investing in AI, where's the development, where the patents registered with AI, because this is an incredible fast-moving market. And you very quickly reach the capital market side of this business. It's not just AI and the technology and how we can apply it. There's a lot of people making a lot of money investing in AI. I mean, Elon Musk is one of the co-founders of OpenAI. Before he left it to found Tesla. So if he would have stayed on there, he would make another billion just on that venture. So it's definitely something that's quite fascinating. And it's covered by a lot of people in the press, and we're proud to sort of carve out our niche with that. And so that's sort of the background.
It's funny because when I mentioned, oh yes, I'm working with a podcast about AI, they say, you can do a podcast about AI. Like, how many things can you talk about related to AI? And
endless,
I'm like,
endless.
You would be surprised.
I mean, if you look through your headlines in one day, there are at least 2 or 3 that are AI. Yeah, it does this, AI for that, AI for whatever. It's incredible.
Yeah.
Because I thought the same thing.
Yeah, it's not.
And I was like,
yes, no, but that's why we try to like mix it up with AI and something about our daily lives, or AI in the context of a specific field. Like when we did the sleeping one, it's just changing every single part of our lives.
Yes, absolutely. And we did one vibe check on how AI affects your job.
Yeah.
And interesting enough, here, and they did a Swiss study by the Economie Suisse in Lausanne, did that study. About 10% of the job market is affected by AI in a negative way. So that's still a couple 10,000 people that are affected by that. I have a son who is a professional photographer in advertising, and he's running the AI department for the Yeah, but in his heart, he's the creative one.
Yeah.
So it's like saying, okay, guys, you can go home because you're replaced by robots.
Really hard.
Or ChatGPT is doing the next interview.
Really hard, yeah.
And so he says, I like to be behind the camera. I don't like to do all just this. So there are some people will be seriously affected by it, and some will profit from it. So it should help. But it's a big debate out there, and this is why we're covering this in a non-political, non-threatening way.
Yes, I really like the fact that we want to put awareness about AI, because the really big risk of this is that if we are not going to understand the situation of right now, people are starting really to be confused in the next future.
Yeah.
So this is for me very ethical also, and I really like it a lot for this. So thank you very much, Peter, for creating this podcast.
That's very sweet. Well, with that, thank you all very, very much. I wish you all very, very happy holidays. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, whatever you wish in India. I don't know what you celebrate in India there. I particularly like to thank the audience for listening to us. Do subscribe. This is very important. And wish you all the best. And we see you next year with new programs. All of us should say sort of Happy Merry Christmas in your local language if you want. So why don't you start in Russian?
С Рождеством и с Новым годом. С Рождеством Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. It will be like с Новым годом.
So you have Russian with English translation live. Perfect. Would you like to say it in your language?
It's just Merry Christmas in English. Somehow.
The Brits are still there. The Brits are still there.
Yeah, I know. I was just wondering. But Nai Saal ki Mubarak hai. That's a Hindi way to say Happy New Year.
Okay.
Happy New Year.
Do you have the same New Year that we do? Or is
Yes,
it like
it's the
Chinese
same.
different?
It's just
same.
the same.
31st
But
December.
Yes.
You also celebrate Diwali, yes?
Yes, we
different?
do celebrate Diwali, but that happened in October.
Yes, okay.
Yeah.
Is it the different celebration?
Yeah, it's a completely different one.
Okay. Spanish?
Spanish, well, we can say it
Well,
together.
you can do the English part.
I say the first one, you say the...
Okay, muy bien.
Okay.
Feliz Navidad.
Y próspero año nuevo.
Muy bien. And you also can cover two languages.
I can start with Italian. So, auguri di buon Natale.
Frohe Weihnachten, schöne Festtage und ein Prosit 2025 auf Deutsch. Alles Gute, vielen Dank.
Bye.